Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Wealth Purpose Peace. I'm Jonathan Hall,
Brian Grant.
and we are financial advisors with Warburton Capital. Our goal with this podcast is to walk through questions that we get asked as financial advisors all the time and to dive into the question behind the question and take it a little bit deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is one we've gotten more recently. We get it fairly often. You see it online a ton as a strategy that's talked about. But kind of today's question is thinking through, should I open a Roth IRA for my child? And so we just want to, again, like usual, start with, first of all, what is a Roth IRA for people who might not know? How does that function in this maybe custodial capacity where they're still a minor? What happens when they're not? And then when it makes sense, when it doesn't, and some pitfalls to watch out for that I think you see people fall into. So,
If I had a dollar for every time over the past couple of years, I wonder if something got published or something that someone has asked, or really not even asked, but just said, well, I want to open up a Roth IRA for my 2-year-old daughter, and it's a great idea in general, but it's fraught with peril. And that's part of why we wanted to make this episode is to let people know of what some of the pitfalls are here.
yeah,
So let's start with this.
right.
What is a Roth IRA?
Mhm.
If you've never been acquainted with one, it's where the contributions that you make into the account are after tax. So when you contribute to a 401k, a traditional 401k, or a traditional IRA, your contributions are pre-tax. You don't have to pay tax on those dollars when you contribute them, essentially. With a Roth, you pay tax and then contribute the money. So there's no immediate tax benefit for contributing money to a Roth IRA. The real benefit, however, is the long-term growth inside of that account is all tax-free. And then any withdrawals from the account are tax-free. And there are rules on the withdrawals. There are rules on withdrawing basis and exceptions for when you might be able to withdraw. In general, I like to pretend like those rules don't exist and look at the primary rule, which is you can't take money out of this account until after age 59 and a half without penalty.
Right. Oh, well, I agree with you first because that's like, before you even go on, you mentioned it's fraught with peril. We'll get into some of the ways it can go south or not be worth it. But the first is just, I would take that mindset of this is a specific goal I'm looking to help my kid with for retirement. If it's for education or a first time home purchase or whatever, those are all fine goals. This just may not be the right vehicle for it. Just because there's some exception in the code that lets you pull out contributions prior to retirement age for these certain things doesn't mean that that's ideally how you should go into it with that mindset. I think if you're putting money in the Roth, even if you're doing it the right way, it's because this is part of a broader strategy and I'm funding these other goals in other ways that I might have for them. This is looking to set them up for retirement. So,
Well, and ultimately, that's where the true benefits of the Roth IRA become apparent.
mm,
Because we could do multiple entire episodes on Roth IRAs, Roth conversions, Roth 401k, the tactic commonly known as a backdoor Roth.
mm,
There are a lot of things we could cover. Specifically today, though, let's think about opening a Roth IRA for your child. Now, why would you want to do that? We see it on TikTok or Instagram all the time. Here's the way to make generational wealth. Max out a Roth IRA for your kids. Let it compound, turns into a bajillion dollars. Well, there's some element of truth to that, like there often is with those reels. There's an element of truth, which is compounding. If you were to make contributions into a Roth IRA and let it compound for 59 years,
mhm,
if you did it when your child was born,
mhm,
theoretically, that would turn into millions
mhm,
and millions of dollars,
mhm.
even
Tax free.
inflation adjusted,
Right.
tax free.
Right.
No one ever pays tax on all of that growth.
Right.
So the appeal is there. It's kind of the holy grail of financial planning is having Roth IRA assets
Mhm.
or Roth assets, I should say. But here's a pop quiz. Okay. Do any of your kids, any of your 3 kids have a custodial Roth IRA open?
They do not.
Mine don't either. I have 3 as well.
Yeah.
None of them have a custodial Roth IRA. So either you and I are hypocrites and really bad financial planners or bad fathers or both and don't understand the power of compounding interest. Why would we leave millions of dollars on the table if it's just there for the taking?
Yeah.
We must not be very disciplined. Or maybe it's not quite that simple.
Right. Yeah. There's more to it. And I mean, so this is where the real peril, right, comes in, to borrow the word. So I mean, the big thing is this is a retirement account. And what do you do for retirement accounts for adults? It implies I'm working. I put some of my money from working into this retirement account for when I stop working. But it started with you working. You have earned income. And that's the big thing. You have to have earned income, whether you're an adult or a child contributing to a Roth or custodial Roth. The child in this case would need to have legitimate earned income, W-2 wages from working at Brahms or whatever fast food place or mowing lawns. They babysit, they have self-employment income, but you need to have legitimate, documented, reportable, taxable earned income. Otherwise, there is hefty penalties that can be levied eh, in retroactively, and this whole thing is well not worth it. Um,
Oh, yeah.
that's the big one.
The tax benefit and the long-term tax benefit of the Roth IRA
Right.
gets completely invalidated in an instant
Hmm.
if you are blurring the lines early on.
Right.
So that's where working with a professional can be extremely important
Right.
because we've had people come to us with Roth accounts for their children and we've got, hey, did they have earned income? And, if they've got earned income, that's great. Um, a lot of kids do. It can be actually great incentive for having your child have some earned income.
Mhm.
One of the best ways to do that, I think, is well, you have to use some common sense
Right.
with this, and we don't want to get cute.
Right.
One of our sayings in financial planning you and I use with clients all the time is don't get cute.
Yeah.
We don't want to get cute with the Roth IRA rules. And if we are all of a sudden saying that your 1-year-old has earned income,
Yeah.
then the lines might be getting blurred.
Yeah. The IRS,
Maybe modern, yeah,
like their job is to make sure these rules that they've created are adhered to. So yeah, my 1-year-old is not stuffing envelopes. She might be a shredder. Maybe that would be a thing that you could. But so yeah, I mean, it needs to be age appropriate work. I mean, the real question you just should ask yourself is if this ever came to an audit and I need to present these records to the IRS, am I comfortable doing that? Like, is that gonna be reasonable? If it was my 10-year-old went and mowed lawns, they got paid $40 a lawn, they did 5 a month, and they put a couple $100 away a month from 10 to age 15, great. That's what this was made for, that's perfect. But again, if your, 2-year-old is filing documents or doing Excel or I mean, it's just those things are gonna be able to be scrutinized and looked at, and again, there are penalties that are heavy, and they're retroactive. So, that's the biggest thing. The other thing to keep in mind, I think, is just, you know, once the child turns 18, this is their account. You open it, you're the custodian, but now it's theirs. This whole math of the compounding doing the great work presumes that they're gonna leave it in there and let it continue to grow and not pull it all out. And so we'll talk about this in another episode, but that's where values and financial education and all that stuff being passed along with just money, is really important.
there is great incentive to help your child see the value of the work that they do as a parent, right? We want our children to grow up and be great contributing members of society and work and earn and save and have these characteristics that are helpful for them. Um, if your 10-year-old is starting to do some work and earn some money, then maybe they don't necessarily understand the power of compounding interest. Although we did have my 10-year-old up and and my 7-year-old,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. But even my 10-year-old, she started looking at it and saying, "Oh, so this can turn into this," and she'll still give me some for birthday money and say, "Can you put this in my account?"
Mhm.
But then what do? I give her the birthday money back, and I go put money in her account to represent it, and that's, I think, an important point,
Right.
is if little Johnny is out there earning $1,000 over the summer, working really, really hard, we're not necessarily saying that he has to just give all of his money to this investment account, though you certainly can make that the case. He's got the earned income.
Mhm.
If he earned 1,000 that summer, he can't give 3,000 to the account. We have to stay, just because there's a higher limit,
Right.
we have to stay there. But a parent can make a gift to their child. You can say, "I'll give $1,000 to you, and you put your $1,000 into the Roth IRA."
Mhm.
As long as it matches the earned income, and you're paying tax on that income, and you have the records to back it up, and you're filing taxes appropriately and following the kitty tax rules as they're laid out in the tax code, they don't have to part with their money necessarily. You as a parent can backfill that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, they can use the gift from grandma or your money to put it in the account, but up to the amount of their earned income. So, no, I think that's an important point because they might wanna spend it on other things and let them be a kid, but it's a good way maybe for you as a parent to incentivize them to go work and work hard to say, "Hey, you do this, I'm willing to do this for future you." And, I don't know, I could tell you as I sit here today, I don't know how much I would have appreciated or gotten it at 15 or even 20, but at my age now, yeah, that would have been a huge leg up, a huge, incentive, and so it's a great tool. There's we're all for tax-free growth and withdrawal that compounds for 60 years. That's the magic. The time does all the hard work, not necessarily the money you put in, and so it's great, but it is not worth trying to get fancy and evade these rules that were put in place for a reason. It will all backfire, and it's just not worth it. You're better off saving to a normal brokerage account or finding other ways to help them.
Yeah, and I think you're touching on the question behind the question, which is, am I doing everything I can to set up my child for success? And we've got another episode on, family,
Mhm.
uh, wealth transfer and setting up your children for success. I think having a Roth is a big component of that.
Mhm.
Um, there is a desire, I think, among every generation. I seem to hear it a lot from our generation. And perhaps it's because that's just the one that we're in. So those are the conversations we're having, and our kids are around that age. But there is a desire to leave the next generation better off than our generation, right? And to set up generational wealth. And I think Roth IRAs get seen as a way to build generational wealth for the next generation.
Mhm.
They absolutely are. You just have to be really careful, because someday that's going to be, my prediction. And we don't predict much doing what we do, but my prediction is that someday that's going to be an area of emphasis for an IRS um, team, IRS leadership team, is they might want to go audit all those Roth IRAs, because they have no incentive to let that cook for 60 years with no tax,
Right.
right? And frankly, that's not how it was written. The law is written to be there. If you earn the income, you can deposit into the account.
Yep. I agree.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us on another episode of Wealth Purpose Peace. We'll see you again soon.